Hey everyone, it's Wolfgang. I wanted to talk about direct response, bottom of funnel marketing versus branding marketing and the differences. This is an introduction, just an introductory level to this because there's been confusion about the differences between these types of marketing. So starting with the sales funnel, when you're trying to sell something, selling it online or selling it through a retail channel, brick and mortar, there's usually a sales funnel involved. A sales funnel has like three levels. There's awareness at the top of the sales funnel. That's usually awareness in the customer's mind that you're in business and what products you offer. That usually comes from branding type of marketing. Awareness that you're, one of potentially many companies that offer the product or service the customer wants. The top of the funnel, awareness, consideration is the middle of the funnel when a customer or a prospect is getting ready to actually move closer to a purchase. They start narrowing down exactly what features they'd like to buy and from who they'd like to buy. They're considering the options, the different features, the different vendors or the different stores that sell what they want. That's the middle of the funnel. At the bottom of the funnel is converting. That's the actual sale. So awareness at the very top, the customer enters the funnel, they narrow their purchase options, and they finally make a purchase when they buy at the bottom of the funnel. So branding is at the very top. People become aware of you through branding. That's one way they become aware of you. There are other ways. But generally, branding marketing is designed to get as many people as possible at the top of the funnel. Because you can see as the funnel narrows, people start dropping out. Not everyone at the top of the sales funnel who is aware that you're in business will end up buying from you. So the funnel narrows. And so it's in your best interest to have as many people at the top of the funnel as possible because that gets winnowed out, that gets reduced. The number of people who enter the top of the funnel, maybe 100 prospects gets reduced to maybe 1 to 5 people who actually buy, 1 to 5% conversion rate in that case. So direct response marketing is similar to what you will do when you're trying to convert someone who's entered the funnel and they're in the consideration phase. The types of things you do in direct response marketing are very similar to get someone to convert, to buy from you, not from a competitor. So examples of branding. Nike, just do it. Apple, think different. Those are branding. There's nothing that says, please buy something from us. It's just branding. That's a branding marketing message. That's a very expensive thing to do if you think about it. Because Nike's not making any money here. They're not even asking anyone to buy anything here. This is a branding message. So they're spending money to do this. And if you think about it, Nike's budget to get this word out, to become as well known as it is, the amount of money they're spending on that branding is immense, but they're willing to do it. And I'm going to explain why they do it as we go through. So branding is expensive. It's also slow. This message, when it first came out, did not resonate right away because it was new, just like anything else. It's like the first time you hear music from an artist that you like, you may not resonate with the song, but if you keep hearing it, familiarity, then you start having an attraction to it. It's sort of like a magnet. Over time, it becomes a magnet. The more you hear these branding messages, the more familiar you get with those companies. But again, no immediate sales. So branding is expensive and it's very slow. So on the other hand, when people are at the bottom of the funnel, it's time to buy. It's time to get them to buy. It's time to convert those customers to dollars in your pocket. So direct response, bottom of funnel. Generally, if you have a company either online or brick and mortar, you need calls to action to get someone to convert from considering, and they're at the bottom of the funnel. Direct response requires a call to action to get them to convert. And generally, direct response, there's a few ways to do it. One way is to create a sense of urgency. And I will give you a personal example of that from, let's see here, rental properties. So this is an example from, we've been doing rental properties for a long time. So let's say that we have 3 vacancies. Let's say we have 3 2-bedroom, 2-bath units that are available. When we advertise a unit for rent, we do not say we have 3 units that are identical and they're all available right now. We don't say that because there's no sense of urgency. So a sense of urgency is intended to communicate to the potential buyer, if you want this, we have it. But it's like the last one in stock, or seating is limited. Sense of urgency. So a call to action, the bottom of the funnel conversion can be instigated by imposing this sense of urgency on the prospect to let them know that if you're in the market for this and you're serious, we have what you want, but we do not have an unlimited quantity and we don't have an unlimited time. So in the rental property example, we learned years ago that the sense of urgency was essential, because the problem is if someone walks into your brick and mortar store, or if somebody is looking at what you have available on your website and they see you have 1,000 in stock, what do they think? No hurry. They have a lot available. I don't have any pressure to make a purchase now. And the reason that's bad is, from the perspective of the seller, the reason that's bad is by nature, humans don't like to part with money. They don't mind buying things. Buying stuff is fun, right? When we get something we want, we plan for it. We became aware of something available. We started considering and choosing all the feature sets, like choosing the options for a car. If you're thinking about buying a car, what options, which dealership do I buy from? And you get to the bottom of the funnel where it's time to make a decision. If all of a sudden Ferrari came out and said, our latest model, we have 20,000 units available. So what Ferrari does, they create a sense of urgency by never producing enough models for each model year. Ferrari learned, just like we learned in our rental property business, that if you create a sense of urgency and a sense of scarcity, that people are more inclined to part with their money and buy something. If Ferrari came out tomorrow, or Lamborghini or Lotus or any of the the exotic car companies came out and said, we have increased production 1,000-fold. We have 100,000 units of this model in stock. That eliminates the scarcity. That is not going to incite people to buy. They will say no hurry. There's a lot available, so there's no need to buy right now. I can think about this a little more. In other words, so sense of urgency, sense of scarcity. You want to create that at the bottom of the funnel. Direct response advertising is similar. So let me just say something about direct response advertising. So this is a sales funnel. Direct response makes no assumption that people have gone through a funnel. Direct response is basically a small company who wants to sell now. And they don't care if you've never heard of them, awareness. They don't care if you spent some time dwelling and considering your options, who to buy from, what features. Direct response is basically at the bottom of the funnel, convert now, buy something. So direct response advertising has that one difference from bottom of funnel, but the tactics are very similar, if not the same. Create a sense of urgency, create a sense of scarcity to get people to buy. But direct response, if you're a smaller company, it's much less expensive. It's not like branding. But it's very similar to this step in a sales funnel. Direct response is very similar to the bottom of the funnel, trying to get people to convert to buy something. So here's the reason these big companies will spend so much on branding: to establish trust. Companies spend millions and millions of dollars to establish a sense of familiarity with the public, because that creates trust. If you think about it, if you were thinking about buying something and you'd heard that the company's been in business for 10 years and they have this marketing message, and the marketing, you've heard that over and over and over and over for years and years, you trust that company. They're not going to go out of business. If there was a problem with what you bought, you're pretty confident you could take it back and be taken care of, versus a new company that appears out of nowhere and starts selling stuff. So when you buy stuff on eBay or Amazon or Etsy, any of the online retail sites, there are other ways to establish trust besides branding. Branding is expensive, takes a long time. So how do you establish trust if you're an online retail site? Customer reviews. That's one of the most effective ways of establishing trust. If people can see that there have been other customers, as many as possible, who have been happy buying from you, then they're going to trust your company to take care of them if something goes wrong. So branding establishes trust, but so do customer reviews. Having a great set of customer reviews, Google reviews, also establishes trust. With one exception, if you encounter a new, online retail site you've never heard of before, and there are tons of reviews, the trust factor is diminished because the website is new. But in the case of Amazon, in the case of eBay, in the case of Etsy, you know that those websites have been around for many, many years, so you trust the websites. So when you see reviews on those trusted websites, then the reviews can take the place of branding to some degree. But the other thing branding does that customer reviews cannot do is create brand loyalty. If you've bought Nikes in the past and you've been happy, there's a good chance you're going to buy Nikes again in the future. And the same with Apple products. If you think about the iPhone, every time they come out with a new iPhone, who buys the majority of those? People who already own the previous version of the iPhone. So brand loyalty is another objective of brand marketing, to establish trust, but also brand loyalty to keep people coming back. So customer reviews don't really do that. But if you're trying to sell something online and you develop a great set of reviews from customers that you've made happy, that can establish trust, not loyalty, but trust to get people to convert. Bottom of funnel to buy from you, or direct response, both work. So this is how people buy. This is just a quick review. People become aware of someone selling something they want. That comes from branding generally, or in the case of buying something online, if you search, you become aware of who's offering what with what features by a search on one of the online retail websites. So people become aware. They begin considering what features do I want, what options. If I'm buying a car, what size of engine do I get? A turbo? What extra packages do I get? They consider the features. They consider who to buy from, which dealership has the best reputation. And then after going through awareness and considering, they buy, they convert at some point. So to give you an example, when I bought my most recent car, I went through this process. I became aware of a new model in a brand that I had bought from in the past. And I went to the dealership and I talked with the sales guy about what were the options available for that model. So I became aware of the new model. I began to consider the features, but I didn't buy. It took me a while to actually make the buying decision. But that's pretty much what I went through. Awareness, there's a new model available, considering what are my options, and should I buy from this particular dealer? And then I finally did buy the vehicle several months later. So here are some other bottom of funnel tactics. This is specifically bottom of funnel. You've probably experienced this, right? When you put something in your cart and then something happens, you get interrupted or you change your mind and you want to think about it. If you leave an item in a cart, you may get a message from that website telling you, retargeting you, you left this item in your cart, we're offering a 20% discount. That's retargeting. If you have been collecting emails on your company website, then you have an email database. You have a database with emails from people who have contacted your company to buy or to get information about what you're selling. So you can create an email campaign with offers to offer people came to your site, so they express some interest, right? You've got a database of all the people's emails who came to your website. You can create a campaign because they've gone through the awareness part. They arrived at your website because they're considering you to buy from. Awareness, consideration, they haven't converted yet. Email campaign to convert them. Bottom of funnel. You were interested in this product. If you buy one, we include this other item for half price. That's an upsell. So another thing you can do with your website to convert, to get people at the bottom of the funnel to convert to a purchase, have video demos. So I personally lean really heavily on those. When I buy anything online, if there's a video that does a demo, I watch those because it demystifies the whole process. Is this thing that I'm thinking about buying a good fit for me? Is this what I think it is? So the video demo, really important. If you can shoot a short video demonstrating someone using the product you're selling, that can convince people and get them to convert from consideration to actually buying from you. Video demos, and like I said previously, customer reviews. Customer reviews replace the trust function of branding. Customer reviews, if you get great reviews, that builds trust, that replaces branding that you probably can't afford because a branding campaign, very expensive, right? So if you do this with a website, you need a landing page to collect emails. So if you're not sure what a landing page is, easy lookup online, just do a search on landing page. It's usually a very simple form, customer email, and that can be all. Because here's the thing that I've seen with I've seen this common mistake that a lot of online marketers do. there's a form and there is an email, but there's too much other stuff that's required fill in. You don't want to do that, because when a customer is in the middle of the funnel, when they're considering, they haven't chosen you yet. You don't want to put up any friction between consideration and converting. Ask as few questions as possible. Ask as few questions as possible. And in this case, if you had a landing page that just said, if you're interested in this, we have an upcoming sale, leave your email and we will notify you when the sale starts. And nothing else, no name, no address. You can collect that if they convert, because once they convert, once they buy from you, they're going to need to receive the package. And that's when you can get the name, address, and phone number and stuff. But I've seen that mistake not infrequently, where the landing page is just a huge form of stuff that people are just not going to fill that out because they're in the consideration part of the funnel. They're not converting. They're not interested in giving away a lot of personal information, not until they've made the decision to buy. When they've made the decision to buy, they're going to be okay with giving you their contact information because they need to receive what they're buying, right? But if you have a landing page and someone says, let's ask the customer for a lot of information so that we can retarget them, tell them to, no, don't do that. Tell them, no. What's the one thing that we need to be able to communicate with them? The email address. That's all you should ask for. That's just my opinion. So take that as it may. But if you notice a lot of landing pages on the internet these days, they're huge forms, name, address, telephone number, and the email address, and then other stuff too. What item are you interested in? What time frame? A bunch of stuff that is going to piss off the person who's in the middle of the funnel. They're not at the bottom of the funnel yet. They're considering you and other options. They're going to consider the vendors who piss them off the least, who ask the fewest questions, who place the smallest burden on them. Most people don't even want to give email addresses these days. So just getting that is a huge win if you want to think of it that way. So basically this was to distinguish direct response bottom of funnel with branding. Most of us are not in a position to launch branding campaigns. That's kind of a larger company undertaking. It's an expensive campaign that does not ask anyone to buy anything. It simply is intended to establish trust. And then after someone does buy from that brand, it creates loyalty. As long as the experience was good, it creates loyalty. If the customer keeps hearing from Apple, think different, they're more likely to be loyal customers. The whole thing about buying something, especially a big ticket item like an iPhone, you've got to be able to trust the company because it's an expensive item. And if something goes wrong, you want to feel that you're not going to be abandoned. So, but most of us are not in a position to afford branding. So that's branding versus the bottom of the funnel and direct response. If you have any questions about that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you post in the comments. And I really want to thank everyone for watching. Have a great day.